This is a private recording. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you could be with me tonight as we approach a very hallowed section of the United States. I have with me tonight 5 friends, 2 of whom I have never met before. I have on my right Hugh Dunbar, on my left Hal Brokaw, in my immediate rear to the right Mr. Bill Cook, and on my immediate rear to the left Mr. Guy Harris, the program director. This is Bob Seaver speaking. The hour is midnight. We are now approaching the grave of Nancy Hanks Lincoln. Tonight, even though we are partying, and we want to get across one point, that even though you have been to parties and you have celebrated, that deep down in your heart you can have religious sentiments and feel the deep historical background of the happenings and of the personalities that have molded our country. Hugh, would you tell us, your flashlight now at this hour of midnight is focused on what grave?
We are standing now at the grave of Nancy Hanks Lincoln, mother of the President Abraham Lincoln. She died in 1818. She was 35 years old. She was with Lincoln during his formative years.
Folks, I wish you could feel the thoughts that go through our hearts this evening as we stand at this hour of midnight at the grave of Nancy Hanks Lincoln. I'd like to pass the word around now, the microphone rather, to the various individuals gathered here at this midnight hour. Hal Brokaw, what is the feeling in your mind tonight as we stand here at midnight with the beautiful stars in the heavens at Nancy Hanks Lincoln's grave?
I feel very deeply, Bob. I don't know what to say, actually.
Hal, do
it
you
moves
feel
me.
Do you feel the feeling that I feel of perhaps a hand behind your neck?
Why, yes, I do.
Can you feel that here in
Yes,
the
I do.
midnight hour?
I do, Bob.
Guy, come on over here. Guy, we're old buddies. What is your feeling tonight here in this heart of the woods in southern Indiana, the hallowed ground on which we stand, in which Abraham Lincoln walked many miles to get books for his career?
Bob, I'm overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelmed.
I think, Guy, you and I are the emotional type, but isn't it something that makes your very fingers tingle, the feeling of standing here at this dark hour?
You're right, Bob. You're right.
It's a feeling that goes beyond anything that you can describe.
You can't say it. You only feel it.
That's right. Mr. Bill Cook. Bill, we've only known you for a few hours.
Bob, all I can say is Lincoln possibly stood here one night himself. He looked up here at the skies and the heavens, and he saw all the stars. At those particular years, he was wondering what the future would bring to him. We know now what he had in store.
He had problems in his day, didn't he, Bill?
He sure did.
Hugh, this reminds me somewhat of the grave in Fort Wayne of Johnny Appleseed. You know, I don't know, have you heard of Johnny Appleseed?
Yes, we've heard a great deal about Johnny Appleseed, but you know, I want to think about the mother of Lincoln for a moment.
We have problems somewhat different than Abraham Lincoln had, but I think if each and every one of us have the same faith of old Abe Lincoln, I think our problems will be resolved, don't you?
That's right. 100 years ago, he stood here, and he solved his problems, and maybe the world problems tonight can be solved right here under such a beautiful heaven, such wonderful weather.
I wonder, fellows, if we're gathered here, since this is for private recording, if as we leave the grave of Nancy Hanks Lincoln, if we would all sing in a reverent voice, "Mine eyes have seen the coming of the Lord," as we leave the grave of Nancy Hanks Lincoln.
Bob, I think I've said all I want to. It's too sacred a night to say much more.